Moving on, let's talk about one of the most innovative things in the NHL right now. This comes to us from Ben. Hey, Mike, saw your video on this new Frozen Frenzy ESPN Plus show. I know it's only once this year, but I wanted your thoughts on whether it happened more frequently. So obviously the NHL announced this Frozen Frenzy. I think it's a fantastic idea. It's going to be launching on October 24th when all 32 teams play. And it's hosted by John Butchergrass. For those that don't know what's going on October 24th, every single team in the NHL is playing, all 32, which I think has happened in the past. But what's unique about this is they're starting at 6 p.m. and staggering every 15 minutes up until like 9:30 p.m. So there's, usually it's like there's a 7 p.m. There's like 5 7 p.m. games. Then like the central time zone, there's like 3 8 p.m. So like it's horribly staggered. So like at the end of each hour, they're all at intermission. It doesn't really matter. They're staggering it. So basically every single minute, there'll be at least 4 to 5 games going on without fail. You won't have that weird scheduling that the NHL for some reason always does. So they listen to consumers. They're doing that. I think it's going to be very interesting. And in terms of this Frozen Frenzy, again, going back to it, all 32 teams, rapid fire action. Obviously, the inspiration behind this is NFL RedZone. I'm not a massive NHL RedZone guy myself, but it clearly is successful. It works for the NFL. I don't think it'll be as great of a product as the NHL, just because NFL RedZone, they know where the teams, there's a play clock. It's a lot more stop and start, so they can flash at different games right before their score. NHL is going to be hopping. It's going to be on a little bit of a delay, but I think it's a fantastic idea. You look at it in terms of casual fans that are starting to get into hockey. They might not want to sit down for a 2.5 hour game where there's going to be 3 to 4 goals total. Maybe that doesn't really appeal to a person just getting into hockey. That time investment is not worth it. And I actually have proof of this. One of my friends texted me. I know you guys might think that I'm faking this, but for the audio people, someone sent me a screenshot of this and said, "This is sick. Will make me actually watch hockey." Again, this was, I don't know, this guy is not the biggest hockey guy, but considering someone like that is going to be willing to give hockey a chance compared to, they don't want to watch a full game, but something like this, Butchergrass holding it, it's going to be a very interesting thing for NHL. I think going forward, this could be a successful model whenever they have a 10-plus night game. Obviously, on a Monday night when they have 4 games, you can't do this because there's not going to be enough action. There's going to be like a 7 p.m. game, 8 p.m. game, 9 p.m. and a 10:30. You can't do it there. But whenever there are these massive 10, 12, 13, 14, just in general, they got to stack the schedule better so they do have some of these delayed starts. But I think this is going to be a very effective thing. And also, not even just the casual fan, but I'm thinking about the fantasy hockey fan when it comes to this. Imagine a night where your team's not playing. You're going to have this shit on, at least in the background of your room, tracking games. When I have a full lineup, I am nonstop on the ESPN, the NHL app, refreshing scores. I got the Twitter notifications for NHL goals. I don't know if you have that. It's like RotoWire. They tweet out every single goal, who scores it, who assists it. So I think that this is going to be great for fantasy hockey and overall boost fantasy hockey for fantasy hockey diehards. Because that's the case with RedZone. People watch RedZone with their fantasy apps open, scrolling through it, being like, "Oh, that guy's on my team. He just scored. He just had a 50-yard gain." I think the same thing's going to happen with this NHL Frozen Frenzy. And just overall for the NHL, this is definitely more of a Gen Z, millennial kind of idea, kind of concept. I don't expect my dad or, my uncle to tune into this because it'll be very high-paced, not watching the real game. They'll be like, it's not actual hockey, just highlights. But when it comes to the NHL, they are struggling a little bit in terms of oldest age. This comes to us from the MLB. It was an article about the MLB. Their fans are old as hell at 57. But the NBA, NHL, and NFL, the average fan for the NBA is 42. NHL, 49. NFL, 50. So NHL at 49, they definitely want to get closer to that NBA number. I think Formula One something ridiculous like 32. That's not going to be achievable. But the NHL definitely wants to not skew solely to a younger audience, but attract that younger audience, that Gen Z millennial population. And I think something like this could be great in the sense that it's not changing the actual game. It's not like on your favorite team watching. This is not going to affect it at all. It's only an additive bonus for younger people and newer fans of hockey in that Gen Z millennial to watch this. This is not going to affect the 57-year-old at home that just wants to watch his team, doesn't give a shit about the rest of the NHL. He's not going to be tuning in. That's not the market audience. His game, his broadcast is going to stay the exact same, but for some younger, newer, casual fantasy hockey degenerates, betting degenerates. I didn't even mention that. The betting degenerates are going to be in love with this, for they're tracking their overs, their first goal scorers, their anytime goal scorers. The betting implications of this is going to be absolutely insane. And Gen Z millennials do tend to bet more. So I think that it is overall a pretty brilliant idea by the NHL. I got to give Gary Bettman some props on this one. I don't really give him props ever because I don't think he's that good of a commissioner. But he did a very good job on this, and it's funny that like the one good idea that he has, it's basically just copying something that the NFL did like 10, 15 years ago. Like, it's like the bare minimum. I want him to do so much other stuff from other leagues for the most part. It's good that he's copying this. Next, let's get a play-in. I'll probably make a separate video on that, the goddamn play-in. But let's move on